everyone, Michelle Jab here, clinical psychologist and crazy love coach. If it's the first time you're joining me, what I do is to build everlasting and meaningful relationships from the inside out. What does it mean? It means that I help my clients fall in love with themselves, because I believe that as long as you're not in love with the woman that you are and you don't find yourself so fabulous, you won't attract the right kind of man. So this is what I do with my fabulous client. I help them create crazy love between you and yourself. Thank you for the love already. Hello Mirna, hello Jennifer. Okay, so how do I do that? I use my expertise as a clinical psychologist and psychotherapist, and I help my clients heal their inner wounds and blocks that are preventing them from having it all and from getting the life they dream of, the man they dream of, the life they dream of, whatever they dream of. I help them get there by unlocking everything that has been blocking them from achieving that. Okay, so I have this amazing community, my Facebook group, The Walking Tall Woman, and in this group I can be in touch with my tribe, my clients, etc., and I ask them weekly to ask me their questions and whatever struggle they're going through in order to help them in my mini trainings on my business page, as you see now. Sorry, my battery is low. Okay. so today I'll be talking about a very special topic, because I noticed that when I talk about Mr. Right, a lot of people are asking me, yeah, but Mr. Perfect doesn't exist. Well, I need to clarify this. When I say Mr. Right, I never mean Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect is very different than Mr. Right, and I feel that we need to differentiate both. So this is why today I'm gonna tell you why is Mr. Right so much better than Mr. Perfect. And I'm never talking about Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect is, oh my God, I'm going to tell you what he is very soon. So stay here. So if you're interested in understanding this, stay with us. Feel free to say hi, to ask your questions. I'll answer you at the end of the training. Even if you're catching the recording, type your questions. I'll answer you as soon as I see them. And yeah, so let's start. Okay, so I'm gonna read my notes. This is where I'm looking there, so I'm sure I'm not missing anything from you. Okay, so the first thing is that Mr. Perfect obviously expects Miss Perfect, right? Because he's perfect, he's Ken, so he expects Barbie, right? So he needs you to be the perfect girl, the one that we see in the movies, that is so perfect, he has no flaw, that does everything perfectly. Okay, so this girl is so perfect, like she's Barbie. Okay, and since he's expecting her to be perfect, she's not allowed to make any mistake. She doesn't make mistakes. She's perfect, right? Like him, he is, right? You really think that he's perfect? Anyway, so let's go back to this girl. So this girl is perfect. She's not allowed to make any mistake. And of course, if she ever does, he will be turned off because of any imperfect feature that she might have. It can be something very, like very small or silly, but he will be turned off because of that. So let's say that one morning your hair doesn't look like the way it did before you went to bed, and he saw you this way, he can be turned off, like, oh, that's the real you. Okay, so please imagine that you dated this guy. How would you feel? Seriously, girls, tell me, how would you feel to live with a guy who expects you to be perfect all the time? No place to spontaneity. Sorry, it's hard. So how would you feel? Wouldn't it destroy your self-esteem? And wouldn't you feel like depressed to be dating this guy that he's always asking you to be the best? Like, I feel exhausted just thinking about it. So please share your ideas about that. I would really like to see if someone is thinking the same way as I do. Meanwhile, Mr. Right, he makes you feel, he never makes you feel insecure. He makes you feel safe all the time. And he loves your flaws. Really, Mr. Right, when he knows that something is bothering you about your body or any imperfection that you have, he will do his best to make you love this imperfection that you have. Mr. Right will love these flaws more than he loves the perfect things about you, because the perfect things, everybody can love them, but it's the really special things that about you, the things that are unique to you, that will make him fall for you. Okay, so he will love your imperfections so much that he will teach you to fall in love with yourself. And isn't that beautiful, that thanks to the love of a man, you start loving yourself more. I feel that this is very constructive and this is very mature, and this is what Mr. Right does. This guy teaches you to fall in love with yourself, same as I do. He's a crazy love coach as well, right? So that's the number one thing. The second thing is that Mr. Perfect is boring. I'm sorry, girls, but he's so boring. Oh my God. With him, you can never be spontaneous, and you always have to react the exact way as he expects you to. You know, like you can never have a different point of view on things. You can never speak your mind because you are perfect, and you can't say anything different than what he's saying. So he is following what society is preaching, since he is Mr. Perfect, okay? So he's totally aligned with the values and ideas that society is teaching us. And let's be real here. He's kind of brain dead when it comes to being original. He is like, you know, like a zombie, like following the flow. Do you want to be with this kind of guy? A guy who doesn't think, who is not original, a guy that, like, you know, like that is the creation of all what society is teaching us and showing us every day? I don't think so. So Mr. Perfect enjoys belonging to this society, and he is quite scared to be marginal and different, okay? He cannot speak his mind. He doesn't have a mind at all, actually, even if he's successful and he has money, but he doesn't have ideas, because ideas are what makes you sometimes imperfect in the eye of someone else, right? So imagine how boring this guy is, and I'm sure that you feel the same. Please share your ideas about that as well. I would really want to see if someone is thinking the same way as I do. Okay, meanwhile, you have Mr. Right. Mr. Right is unique because only you can love him this much, because he is your customized version of the ideal partner. He only fits your taste, your unique taste. So he will understand what is very special about you, what is very special in your ideas and in your values. There's something very specific that you think about or you fight for, and that he will share with you. Mr. Right is the right fit. He's the perfect match for you, and he gets you. Okay, so this is why Mr. Perfect is better than Mr. Right. Mr. Right is boring, while Mr. Perfect is boring. Mr. Perfect is boring, while Mr. Right is unique and amazing. Finally, Mr. Right is the perfect match. So I said that before. He's the perfect match. Because Mr. Perfect matches any woman who is trying to show a fake perfect image of yourself, right? But how insecure this woman is. How is she to be behaving this way? Like, I need to do this because he will think I'm not perfect. I need to do, like, she's always paying attention to what she should do, say, or think, just so he won't judge her, right? So what about your true desires here? What about your dreams? What about your values? Are you ready to forget them just for him? Mr. Right is the one who gets you, who shares your ideas, your dreams, your values, and he supports whatever you do, and he never judges you. Even if he doesn't agree with you, he doesn't judge you. If it's something that is important to you, he will support you and say that, you know, like, I don't agree with that, but if you're happy, I don't care. I'm gonna support you. Meanwhile, Mr. Perfect, he wants you to be the exact way that he dreams his dream girl to be, so you won't be able to follow your own dreams and desires and values, etc. And this is very important in a couple. So Mr. Right is the perfect match, because only Mrs. Perfect can match Mr. Perfect, right? Finally, I think we're done, actually, because I only wrote 3 ideas, because more or less this is it. So I don't see any question here. Oh, the electricity is gone. Okay, ladies, wait a minute. I'm gonna move because yes, it's Lebanon here. Woohoo! Yeah, this is the life. So this is it for today. We talked about Mr. Perfect and Mr. Right. I would really like to see your ideas. If you have any question, please type it in. I can't wait to see your question and answer you. What else? So I'm repeating the 3 points that I talked about today. Mr. Perfect is seeking for Miss Perfect, so you won't ever be Miss Perfect. I promise you that she doesn't exist, as well as he doesn't. So don't try to be with him, because he's gonna break your self-esteem, because you will never be good enough for him. Okay? The number 2 thing is that Mr. Perfect is boring. Okay? No place for being spontaneous and doing crazy things and being genuine in the moment, etc. And the 3rd thing is that Mr. Right is the perfect match, while Mr. Perfect matches only Mrs. Perfect, right? Mr. Right supports you, never judges you, etc. While Mr. Perfect is always judging you. Did you see the view behind me? It's beautiful, right? Okay, so I don't see any question. I'm just going to invite you to join my lovely community, the Walking Tall Woman. The link is on top of this video. I can't wait to have you there so we can continue this conversation. You can ask me your questions, etc. Also, if you want to know more about how to find Mr. Right, etc., I invite you to download my checklist. The link is on top of this video as well. 6 hidden mistakes a confident woman never makes in a relationship. Okay, other than that, what should I tell you? Yeah, I think we're done for today. Sorry for this unexpected situation. So you saw the view from my house now. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for your question, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.